training like this is because it's efficient and convenient for us to stand there in a line that's safe. It's not because it's actually applicable to real life, right? In real life, it's not a whole bunch of dudes on a line shooting statically. It's like you're like doing something, moving around, oh, present the gun and shoot the guy, right? And so, or way more dynamic and interesting than that. One of the big things is being active while you're shooting. It's not on my heels, kind of leaning back, just hanging out, right? There's a common thing you see at the range. Think back to middle school or high school or something where you're like gonna run a race, okay? And if you're waiting for the gun, the starter thing to go off, or the gym teacher to blow the whistle or whatever they do, and if you're like standing there just kind of relaxed, not ready to go, what's gonna happen? Your start's gonna be horrible, right? And if you're trying to win a race, the start, like that, any transition is always where people lose time, right? You have like a relay race, like the baton transition, that is where people lose time, right? And overall, if you're just like sitting here hanging out waiting, that's where you're gonna lose time. It's the case with any athletic activity. When we're shooting, we don't wanna be static, okay? We wanna be active. It's like we are ready to go, right? We're ready to move. In fact, we're already in motion, okay? So like if Ryan comes out here and he and I, we're not shooting, but we're gonna like essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put bullets into somebody, right? And I'm trying to drive the gun and be active behind the gun. And so it really is kind of like Ryan puts his hands up and we're like pushing on each other, right? So like Ryan right now got into a position where like he is fully directed at me. And so if I move left or right, he probably is not going to be as able to move because he big time loaded that leg, right? So in order to be, if I big time load this leg, do you see how static I kind of am? I have a lot of ability to absorb force in one direction, but I'm actually pretty static. So I have to have somewhat even balance on either leg. And I'm going to be in here and I start pushing. And if I start moving laterally on him, see how he had to change his position, right? And really it's like, that is what I got to do behind the gun. Right? So if I have proper structure behind the gun, like recoil, like we think we have to grip the hell out of it to absorb recoil, but you don't. You just have to have the right structure behind the gun. This is not a competitive drill, okay? This is not a competitive drill. This is a non-competitive consensual drill where we are agreeing to do this thing and we're just trying to learn body position. I'm not trying to beat Ryan. He's not trying to beat me, but we're just putting our hands on each other's shoulders. We're kind of moving around and learning like what is it, and then like if I want to drop my hips a little lower, right? I just got a little more power, okay? If I stand upright and he drops his hips, right? I can't, okay? So there's a thing behind the gun. If you want to absorb recoil and you're standing straight up with your hips straight up versus if you kind of get your hips in there and drive behind it, okay? So get with a partner